Man, it has been a while since I've heard that catchy tune, and it brings back good feelings, especially on
Yeah,
a Friday, because it's tied to this guy on the right hand side of your screen. He's not only a fine American, his name is Wills, and that's reason enough to look forward to hearing from this guy. A reunion. What? How do?
reunion
Where do we begin?
wherever you want. Dealer's choice. Let's go.
Dealer's choice. Well, how about we start with Farmhouse Delivery? Use that promo code right there, Man Cave, 20% off your first order. Austin based, Texas grown produce, meats, produce. It's organic. It's good
Fine
for you.
foods. Fine foods.
Clean. Just try
Clean.
them out.
Absolutely.
FarmhouseDelivery.com. The
Farmhouse
Wills
Delivery.
family, they've
Yeah,
used it.
you
How'd
bet.
it go? Was it pretty efficient?
It's great product. They deliver as in the name. Fantastic product.
Fantastic. It's an American way of distributing one's
That's right.
product.
That's
Um,
right.
how we're going to start today with Idle Conversations with Will's number 6 is something that's near and dear to Will's. Something that recently happened. I'm just kind of bittersweet, but how about we remember the Erwin Center? We just witnessed the final men's basketball game. The Longhorns hosted Baylor. Did not end well.
Yep.
They played pretty good for about a half. Texas did.
Yep.
Um, we'll get to that here shortly. But when you look back at the Erwin Center, the Super Drum, as us OGs like to call it,
Yeah.
what are your fondest memories that you were there in person for?
That's a
In the Erwin
great.
Center?
That's a great question. I went to every home game this year. I did not miss one, which was fun being the last year. However, my fondest memories, there's two of them. One of them is, I mean, it's not a fond memory except after the game. I'll try to tell the story quick, but everybody remembers Nolan Richardson. Arkansas was great. They went on to the Final Four that year. We lost him in the grade 8. But we're playing him at home, and we had those silver unis we wore for big games. They were great. I think this was 90.
Yeah.
We have the game in hand. Blank steals the ball, goes down. They foul him. They call an intentional. Nolan Richardson storms off the court out of the building. Should have gotten a technical there.
Right.
Give it to him. Blanks misses them both. I think it's Lee Mayberry came down, hit a 3, tied it. They won in overtime. Anyway, I went to the game with my dad. I was still in high school. And we walked out. I was a freshman in high school. And we walked out. And there's some Arkansas fan. This is right outside. I mean, I remember it's on San Jacinto. And this Arkansas fan's walking by or something. And he's horns down. And I yell like, because we had upset them in football. Coach McWilliams, I believe it was in Fayetteville, may have been in Little Rock, but it was
Little Rock.
Yeah, we beat them up there in a huge game. They were ranked, and we were, kind of in between, but we beat them. It was phenomenal. And so we're walking by this guy doing horns down, and I said, well, who won in football or whatever you yell. And the guy, he's obviously put off by that, irritated. He turns around and he yells. And now Arkansas had gone on and they won the Southwest Conference that year. Okay. They went to the Cotton Bowl, and in the Cotton Bowl, Tennessee beat the shit out of them, like 31-3. Okay. So this guy turns around and he yells, well, who won the Cotton Bowl? Okay. He meant to yell, who won the Southwest Conference or who went to the Cotton Bowl. But he yelled, who won the Cotton Bowl? I swear to you, this is like yesterday in my life. And my dad turns around and goes, Tennessee, you dumb shit. That is a great Erwin Center memory.
And that guy couldn't say a word.
Yeah, no, nothing. I mean, it was, ugh. So the other one, you remember back in the day, the Erwin Center, they had the court, but like the seats used to be set back.
Yes.
It was like a old school movie theater, and they had the red velvet ropes, but they had those poor Erwin Center security guards who would stand there all game and just stare into the stands. They didn't even let them turn around. And it was a bunch of geriatrics in the stands not doing anything. But anyway, a friend of mine who's a little older went to, I think it was the Texas-Arizona game, and this was the late Penders, I think. It was a huge game, pretty packed Erwin Center, and this guy had about 100 pops, okay, during the game. Or before the game, into the game, he probably smuggled some in. Well, the game's real tight, and then Arizona, there's like a stretch with 3 minutes left where they get up 6, and it's clear Texas isn't going to be able to come back. He's so mad we're losing, and he's starting to yell, come on, whatever. And the Erwin Center guy is staring at him. So he just turns his attention to that guy, and then all of UT saying stuff like, why are you staring at me? What are you looking at? What are we doing, UT? Anyway, soon after not because of this, but they finally got that arena down low to where it was good. But there's countless games. I saw your deal about US Free hitting that bomb to beat Louisville.
Oof.
There were a lot of great tournament games. Rick Fox beat OU one year.
That was North Carolina, right?
Yeah, he's North Carolina. And there was a time Arkansas played, I think they played Texas Southern and almost lost.
Yeah.
And then they played Syracuse and almost lost. Both, first and second rounds, and everybody in the arena was passionately rooting for Texas Southern and then Syracuse. Credit to Arkansas. They won. But fun games.
They always have the anti-Arkansas, the pro-Texas crowds always came out. And that was always fun when they were in the NCAA tournament. I've got a random game for you that I remember. Okay. I was an intern at KXAN in 92 or 93.
Right.
Rick Majerus in Utah came to town.
Yeah.
Keith Van Horn, I think.
Yeah.
And they were ranked. Yeah. Texas may have been ranked. It was Albert Burdett, Dexter Cambridge.
Yep.
And that group, B.J. Tyler. So Utah was really good back then. Really good. And it was a back and forth game. I want to say Texas hit a Hail Mary to send it to overtime. Then at the end of overtime, it may have been 2. At the end of that second one, I want to say Burdett or one of the guys, Reggie Freeman, heaved it up, hit a 3-pointer, and won at the buzzer. All I remember was, as an intern, sitting at the old school press tables on the court.
Yeah.
Albert Burdett jumping on top of the table and just, celebration. It was one of my favorite games. Strolling Nolan, I watched in the break room at HEB on Burnett Road here in Austin. And he's supposed to take a 15-minute break. That turned into 45 minutes because of the overtime.
Yep.
I may have lost my job about a month later.
That's okay. It's okay. Well worth it. Well, the Majerus loved Austin, and there was talk when Barnes that it was kind of between Majerus and Barnes. He loved eating at all the places in Austin, and his favorite, I'll pay you $1 if you can tell me what his favorite restaurant was. It's no longer here. Famous place, but not one you'd think of.
Oh, my goodness.
It was on West 6th.
I see it. Is it east of Congress, right?
Yes. West of Congress.
West of Congress.
And west
of Deli?
Yes. That's
it?
Katz's Deli.
He loved that? Really?
Yeah, and I'm sure it's because after a game, a night game, they played here a few times. He could go eat. It never closes, all that kind of stuff. But he loved it.
I hated when it did close. It
Yeah,
said
it
it
did
never
close.
closes, and I
Right.
hated the fact that it did. That was a good place, and then Paulo Vasey's Momos on top of it.
Yeah.
You know, you guys got to enjoy that a lot longer than I did because I was away for school, and you guys were here. Did you frequent that back in your UT days?
Not real. I didn't. I probably ate there a handful of times.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about all those old places. I still one of my favorite steaks to go eat, and you get what it is. Hofbrau right there across the street.
Oof.
So good.
It's that's severely underrated. I don't know why. Why are people not? Why don't we not go to those places anymore?
I don't know. I got in a run. The problem is it would close for whatever, and it's tiny, But that salad, you get the potatoes, potato wedges, solid, really solid.
Let's do it next week.
Yeah, agree.
I mean, because things are changing, and we need to go to these places before too many more changes occur. So as we're about to enter March Madness, your evaluation of the Longhorns, I'm just going to put this out there, Wills, that they're in a much better place than they were last year. There's so many people who are not happy with, well, I think Beard's done a fabulous job for his first year with all those new players.
I know. You know what I'll say? What's crazy to me, I think the team was overrated by the media before. Everybody just thought, oh, all these guys together, but and they're going to be top 10. Okay. I would say they've overachieved for who they really are. I mean, our tallest guy is 6'7".
Yeah.
It's not, we're doing things incredibly for the guys we have.
Yeah.
So I'm very pleased. I mean, it's the first 20-win regular season we've had since 2014. If you had, if we had a Greg Brown, a Jericho Sims.
Oh, God.
Just athletically. You see when we play Baylor, I mean, they've got some athletes.
There's a few studs on that lineup and on the floor when they're.
Right. Yeah. So I think I really like that. They're easy to root for. They're good guys. Those are good kids on the team. And they love being here and playing. So it's fun to watch. You can see what is being built with the crowds, with the students, with everything being built. It's going to be a program that we'll enjoy. I think it harkens back to when you look Barnes or Mac Brown, you look back and go, wow, that was a unbelievable stretch. And people didn't appreciate it at the time. Everybody whines about whatever here and there. But making 16 out of 18 tournaments is ridiculous.
Oh, it's almost unheard of in the modern era.
I think we're building that type of a deal with, I think we'll get over the hump sooner rather than later, tournament-wise.
So what would you say would be a successful year moving forward?
Well, I think obviously we'll be in the tournament. I think we'll be a 4 or a 5 seed. Yeah. We may dip down to a 6. If you're a 4 or 5, it's roughly the same thing. But I would say, obviously getting to the second weekend would be outstanding.
Yeah.
It would be a big deal. Winning the first game be great just to get the monkey off Texas's back for the last 5. Which I think we'll do. I really do. I think we're ready to play.
I agree with you in every way, but I'm with that last statement. That's kind of what that's the area I'm leaning toward because of what has not happened in recent history.
Yeah.
Just winning an NCAA tournament game. Yeah. Getting back to that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you another thing. What's fun and what I think people will appreciate about the Beards teams, they play hard. I mean, and they play defense. So, to win basketball, if you're I don't care. I mean, we've won games this year where we shot 4 of 20 from 3, which is hard to do. That just tells you you're playing defense. So even if we're cold, which we are seemingly more often than not, if you play defense, you're going to be in the game. So that's why I like the way we're built to make a tournament run to where we can play defense with about anybody in the country.
The defense is stout.
Yeah.
And one of those guys who's really stout on defense, but his offense is pretty amazing, but he's had his streaks here recently, is Marcus Carr. And this is what he has to say about the team as far as what needs to happen to be successful.
Just simply defend and rebound. I think, when we're locked in on the defensive end and we're able to control the glass, we can control any game that we're pretty much playing in. So I feel like as long as we do those two things, everything else will take care of itself.
Sums it up.
I love how Beard is on his phone reading something like no one else can notice. Yes, that's exactly right. We'll see, and you get guys buying into that. What's interesting it'll be interesting to see next year how who's coming back. Yeah. Because with COVID, literally everybody can come back, but Febris, who's a 5th year, and Lycon, was a graduate transfer. Everybody else could come back. And they did senior night. I don't think Benson's coming back. I think he's going to get married and be done. Timmy Allen could come back. Carr could come back. I don't know about Jones and Ramey. They've been here a long time. But it'll be interesting to see. You've got 2 McDonald's All-American, another top 100 guy. And then if you could keep Marcus Carr, Timmy Allen, Bishop will be back. But that's a good nucleus of you get those guys coming in are super athletic. And you get those guys with veterans. Sometimes that's a good mix. I'd love to see Carr be able to play the 2. See I'm a basketball. My knowledge is off the charts, but I'd like to see him get some open, half the time he's dribbling around trying to create his own shot. And it'd be nice if he could get just open looks, kick outs, stuff like that. I ought to coach. I mean, are you writing this down?
I am. I'm right. It's a short story book. Of strategy by Wills.
That's right.
Yeah. They need a point guard. There's no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, Marcus Carr is a great basketball player, but he's not the dish distribute. I mean, he's more of a scorer, but it'd be great if he could point when he needs to, but play the 2. Ask you if he can come on a little. I mean, he is coming on, but you can add a 3rd guy. That'd be huge.
They're coming. They're coming. It's just a matter of getting that chemistry together. But if you can keep like Timmy Allen, and if Andrew Jones, would that be a 7th year for him?
It'd be his 12th year.
12th year at Texas.
He's in his 3rd year of medical school. It's his residency year.
That's about right. He could be an oncologist after what
100%.
That kid Andrew is a phenomenal kid.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and I'll tell you the honest truth. After the Baylor game, somebody called me, and they had a son who had, I guess, the same sort of leukemia, and a little kid, tiny, and the kid wanted to meet him, and the easiest way to do that was after the game, which sucks, but they came down there, and he came out, met him, took him in there, talked to him. I mean, he's a good kid. He really is. A great Texas Longhorn that'll be remembered for years.
Oh, without a doubt he will. He is one of those guys that you look up perseverance and sticking with it, and it got him the way he came back, because most people would have hung it up.
100%.
College basketball is special, and good things come to an end. But since 1980, Mike Krzyzewski has been the Duke head coach, and final game at Cameron Indoor in Durham. If you were, and they're playing, I believe, North Carolina, so the rivalry game. Right. If you were to guess how that's a smaller. Have you been there?
Yeah, I haven't been to a game there, but I've been to that arena.
Okay. If you were to guess how much would you pay on a secondary market for a ticket to that game tomorrow?
Well, I mean, if I had all the money in the world, and somebody would take me there where I didn't have to make my own arrangements, I would bet they're going for $2,000 a pop.
That's a good guess. That's
Five.
a good guess. Let me show you this. This is outrageous. Look to your left.
Golly.
3,000. And I saw some for 14,000.
That's incredible. You know, it's funny that arena seats, 6,000-7,000.
Yeah.
So it's tiny. So it's hard to get in there. What's the other funny thing I always laugh about Coach K? I've never seen a guy. I would bet if you polled the average just American and be like, what do you think Coach K says or language or whatever? And they'd be like, oh, he never cusses. He's the class. And what's funny, I watched a podcast with JJ Redick, and he's talking about he brought his son who was like 4 to a game, and Duke always puts their former players right behind the bench. And he's like, I saw Coach K. I saw the way he was looking. He was about to call a timeout, and he was furious. So he calls timeout, comes over, and all the players huddle around. And he just looks at him and goes, I hate all of your effing, and he said the F word, effing faces right now, and got up and walked. I bet if America realized that's Coach K, then they'd be shocked.
Coach K. I love Duke.
Yeah.
Yes, that's his big statement. I love Duke.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's it's been a hell of a run. I mean, Duke has not always been what they are.
No, they had some runs in like the 60s, but when he took it, the funny thing about him, and it's almost the same as North Carolina. So they hire him and they are awful for like 3 years in a row. And the guy extended his contract and people went nuts. And he obviously ended up where he was. Mike Brown, his first 2 years at North Carolina, I think he won 1 game each year. And the AD told him, you are fine. I see what you're building. And they always, both those guys, I think, talk about in today's times. But I mean, there are arguments both ways with today's times and hiring and firing coaches. But the problem is the pressure to win is now rather than later. So
it's what have you done for me lately? We're not waiting 5 years.
That's right. Well, you almost can't afford to. I mean,
no.
Because you see what Saban, even Jimbo Fisher, they're getting paid outrageous. Well, you think Jimbo Fisher is making money for A&M now or losing? I mean, you're making money on a winning football program, period.
And the corporate sponsorships are sky high. The
everything.
Boxes are full.
That's right.
You could build a 10,000 seat arena for an NBA franchise, but if they have all those corporate sponsorships and all the suites full, then they're okay. But you can't survive on
and the TV money. I mean,
yes,
that you realize the NFL could play in front of an empty stadium every week, and those owners would make millions a year.
Oh, on the TV rights alone, and that's where we are with major college football.
That's right.
That's why
the Big 12, all this stuff, it'll be interesting to see who comes in when and when we get out, how all that shakes down, because it'll come down to TV money and what they say and how it'll all get worked out.
It's going to be interesting because right now, Oklahoma, they can't afford to leave early.
That's right.
$87 million, they can't afford it. It's it's a systemic issue over there. It's a school wide.
Right.
I don't know what happened at OU, but financially they're not in a good place.
Well, the Dust Bowl. I'm kidding. I think they just. I mean, I went up to the Texas OU basketball game in Norman, and driving around. I mean, it's just. And by the way, that arena seats 10,000 people, and there was probably 5,000 in there.
Yeah, Lloyd Noble.
Yeah, and okay, I get it. They're not, a top 25 team, but you're playing Texas. I just think the population in Norman doesn't support. Somebody said something about baseball. Their attendance is bad when they're bad.
Yeah, it is.
It is. They're going to need to step it up going into this new league in many fronts. Now they're going to get flush with cash when they join the SEC, and that money starts clicking in. But I don't know. To me, it's a little odd that they're so – because I think Castiglione is a great AD.
Perhaps the best AD in America.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know if they may not have the overall wealth of donations and stuff to keep them flush. And maybe COVID hit them harder than it hit a lot of other big programs.
I think you're onto something there. I'll say this. When I was there from December of 2006 to November of 2012, Lloyd Noble Arena, I have to ask you this. Was at about the early part of the second half, was there a sewer-like smell coming from the tunnel?
Always is.
It hasn't stopped?
Uh-uh.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just so dated. I mean, You know what's crazy? And you and I are old enough to remember when they built the Farrell Center in Waco. God, I went up to that game, and that place is a dump. Like it is, the concourse is about as wide as my computer.
Basic.
Yeah, it's nothing. So now they're going to build a new one, but I don't know. I don't think OU has any plans to do anything.
So attendance was really good when I was there.
Yeah,
I mean, you had Longar.
Yep.
Taylor Griffin, Blake Griffin.
Yep.
You had a lot of other guys.
Ryan
Minor just missed him. Just missed him.
You missed Minor and Nahara?
Yeah. Now, Nahara would come by to visit when he was in the NBA.
Yeah.
And Sherry Cole had that program rolling, and they were filling it up.
Yeah.
It was a good atmosphere, but like the media room, everything, it was dated, like you said.
Yeah.
100%. And what I've heard, I was looking into it, all of a sudden now, there's a complaint, and I didn't realize it was that bad. I just said, like, if you utilize your campus space, that's where things are. The location of Lloyd Noble, as you know, it's a wide open parking lot.
Yeah,
which is good. Yeah. Which is good. They have space. And Eldell Metro Park, where baseball is, it's people now are complaining that's the reason for the poor attendance because it's on the other side of campus. I don't buy that. I don't understand that. Why is that an issue all of a sudden?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, what was weird is we landed and we were going to and you go down a little street. Norman is dated.
It can be on that side of town for sure.
Yeah. And what's crazy is Oklahoma City there's a lot of there's a lot of upscale. It's developed. Yeah. In Norman, you'd think, well, you got the university and whatever, but on that side of town, it makes Lubbock look like Paris, France.
It does. But at least there's Rudy's Barbecue on that side of campus.
It is. It is.
And I'm almost positive you probably drove down Chautauqua and drove right past Barry Switzer's house.
I did.
Oh my God. What did he have his shirt on when you went by?
He had a Bud Light and he was still puffing a Camel Light. But
and a Beat Texas hat.
That's right.
Hey, real quick, before we honor one of our newest sponsors, I got to get your take on the number one team in the country in baseball. This is honestly, I'm not being a blowhard on this, but this is one of the most stacked baseball teams that Texas has put on the field. Pitching, bullpen, infield, the lineup potentially could be the best, most stacked baseball team they've had in over a decade.
Yeah, somebody said this this was even after maybe the first weekend. Somebody texted me and said it's almost scary, like not everybody says, oh, it's scary how good they are, but like scary in the sense that I hate saying this, but it's like national title or bust because they're that good. And so you want them to have, do you want them to have a little adversity now? I don't know. And where does the adversity come? Now I just want everybody to be healthy because that pitching staff, last year when we started so bad. We couldn't practice because of something, the storm. Yeah. We got waxed in that tournament, and I was like, well, we can't hit. Well, over the season, our bats came alive, and obviously we got all the way to the Final Four in Omaha.
Right. Yeah.
The beauty is this team, like hitting-wise, you got everybody came back. Yeah. And you replaced Cam Williams with, Kansas's best player who's platooning with other guys.
Messenger.
Yeah, so somebody's going to be – it's just – and Faltini's better hitter. Daly's a better hitter. Silas is a better hitter. So even again, not to harken back to basketball, but it's like if you can play defense and pitch, you're going to be in every game. It's always going to be – so – these guys becoming better hitters, guess what? We're going to win more often than not. So you just hope, not to say the season's a foregone conclusion, but they continue the momentum with just minor hiccups. They get to a regional and they take care of business along the way to get to Omaha and hopefully, but I love having those three guys. If you can stay on the positive side of all these brackets, win that second game, then you've got them. You got a guy who can close the door. You got a guy who can close the door.
Two thoughts on my end. You bring up adversity. It's going to hit. They're going to lose a game or two, or they're going to have a bad weekend.
That's right.
But I like what Pierce has done. David Pierce, the head coach, for those other maybe watching elsewhere that don't know who these names are. 10 of the next 11 games beginning tonight, when this day when this pod was recorded, are on the road. They went to Huntsville to play.
I know.
And everywhere they go, they're facing a full house.
Yeah.
That's adversity when you have that long of a road trip.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And the pitching staff that you alluded to, that we both have been talking about, it's almost unfair.
Yeah.
In the most positive way.
Yeah. Well, I think you brought up a great point. I'm glad you did that. Traditionally, Gus played 97 out of 100 games at home, which I get that too. You got a crowd, you got an advantage. I do like Pierce. I guess it was Augie did it about, whenever Texas State opened that Southwest, opened that new baseball field, they agreed to go down there and play. Harrington was the coach, which is great. Well, now Pierce I think he's using it to an advantage, and it's great. He's a former Sam Houston coach. Yeah. So there's some loyalty there, and I like getting those guys on the road, giving them, it's not a long trip, but give them that experience to play in front of they go down to Corpus now. It's pretty good. And it also smartly, you got fans from Houston who'll come up to Huntsville, root for UT. People in Corpus go root for UT. And you are getting their best shot.
Oh,
play them on a
every
Tuesday.
day.
Right. You're playing them on a Tuesday and you get their number one pitcher, which is great.
In a midweek facing a number one.
That's right.
It's good for those programs who get to experience it, because
100%.
how often can the folks in Huntsville, Hunts Vegas,
Yeah.
say they've hosted the number one team in the country?
That's right. 100%.
And you saw what happened in San Antonio earlier this
Yeah.
week. Number 2, Stanford, I believe they're number 2. UTSA upset them.
Yeah.
In San Antonio.
My son we played at a baseball tournament in San Marcos, and the only day we could play was Sunday. So in between our games, we went and grabbed something to eat and then went over I was like, let's go look at the football field. So we went over there, and then baseball game was going on, and Texas State was playing the Ohio State University.
The Buckeyes.
Yeah, and I told those guys, I'm like, if you're in Ohio right now, it's about -12 and your pecker's freezing. So they've got to come down here. All those northern schools got to come play somebody, schedule somebody. Pretty neat.
It's a lot of those northern schools, you know this, and people may not realize this. A lot of those northern schools, those players will leave for 2 weeks at a time until late March.
Yeah.
And keep up with their academics. They have academic advisors on the road with them.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. I mean, they'll take those trips to Florida, Arizona, Central Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. And Wills, I got to say one thing about this. So the overall health of college baseball, because of what has happened with these extra years of eligibility, this is perhaps the best that college baseball, the product-wise, it has and may ever will be. And with the MLB dicking around with their lockout and bitching and moaning and can't come to an agreement, this is a great opportunity for people to jump on the college baseball bandwagon.
100%. And I'll tell you what is beautiful is they finally have the bat situation down. They have the ball situation down. It's not, whenever that SEC gorilla ball bullshit, beer softball league, 20-5, that era's gone. But they finally have it dialed down to where it's baseball. When you go, it's a 5-3 game. It's a whatever game. If you pound somebody, it's 12-1, but it's a baseball game, and they've got the dish dialed in. I mean, it's such a great place.
Beautiful.
And I think Garrido started it. He's like, we need to have night. They used to always play at 5 in the afternoon. Yeah. Now they have night games with kids. It's everything about it is a fun place to be.
It's a great place to watch a game with family. It's a great place to experience and let go of everything that may be stressing you. And a great place to be and outside the walls of left field at Occupy Left Field. You've got to come with me. You've got to come with me out there.
100%.
So I told you in a text form that we onboarded Manscape.com. I never thought. It's amazing.
News.
So created a new segment dedicated to them. They sent me and the OG Man Cave boys all packages.
So Coach Bo got one of these and I didn't.
Well, I am lobbying in your honor.
This would be great.
They have a new line of products that are coming out, and I'm going to unveil their new line. It has nothing to do with manscaping in the common sense of manscaping. They're expanding their horizons. But if you're on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is manscaping in your life?
You know what? When I was 20, whatever, I would have liked to have manscaped.
Yeah.
Now everybody does it, and it kind of is a good look down there. You look good. We don't look like exactly. And
you look like you have abs.
Yeah, and sky's the limit on whatever you want to do. I mean, there's so many options. I mean, do you go a couple day growth? Do you go bald? What are you going to do?
You put a Hitler stash.
Yeah, you can do that. I don't know that you can say that even 60 years later, but you can do it's the true dealer's choice on how you want to landscape.
So to tell you how amazing these products are, and listen, we're partners. They I'm partners with them through this podcast, and it is for me to experience and speak organically and true opinion. And I can't think of a better way to do it than have created a segment. And I've been waiting to show this to you, and this is a long overdue gift to you. Here it is. Yeah, we're covering about every topic imaginable here at Man Stories Inside the Man Cave, including manscaping. Manscape.com is so popular that they have their own periodical, a newspaper. And their top headline, "We Save Balls," is pretty popular nowadays. And, they really attracted me, so much so that I love the products. And they sent me this entire package I'm going to show you. Well, the premier products of this box I just showed you, the Performance Package 4.0, this bad boy, the Lawnmower 4.0. Take a listen. That is the sound of absolutely tremendous manscaping in the man cave. So today, as you're watching this episode, I encourage you to jump on to manscaped.com and look for the Performance Package 4.0. You'll get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It is smooth, and you just feel like a piece of silk afterwards, and you feel clean. Personally, let me show you what I love the most. Right here, the ball deodorant. I know the light's a little bright here, but the ball deodorant, it smells like sweet mahogany and pheromones.
That was wonderful to watch. I'm glad I won't get those 2 minutes back, but here's the good lines. Silk, that I was wondering. And then when you yell, "Let me show you," I think everybody who was watching the podcast is going to be like, "Oh, shit." But it is a fantastic product.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'm going to text Coach Mo when I get off this and say, "You do nothing for the man cave anymore. I want your Manscaped 4.0. That's all I want.
Well, we need to group text him right now.
100%. Do it.
And, oh, God. Let's see here.
That is what a great product.
It is. And then, the Weed Whacker.
Yeah.
It's right. It comes part of the 4.0.
Yeah.
Those unsightly nasal hairs.
100%.
And have you ever wake up in the mornings and you're like, what? Do this. And you go, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
You made like a paper cut on your finger, and it's because of the growth from the nasal passages. The Weed Whacker takes care of all that.
100%.
And it doesn't hurt. It does not hurt at all. We're going to have to text him afterwards because apparently my ADHD doesn't allow me to podcast with you and text him, but I got it ready. So go to manscaped.com, use the promo code MANCAVE20 for 20% off. My question to you, and we have fun with these episodes on the Idle Conversations with Wills. Have you ever sampled Rocky Mountain oysters?
I believe I have.
What did it taste like?
I mean, kind of like it. You know what it's like? It's like when you go to walk-ons or somewhere and you get a alligator. Oh, I'm gonna have alligator. It's just kind of a chewy little chicken bite. They're not good. I mean, they're fine.
Nothing special. They're full of protein.
Yes.
So, what would the only way to say it right is they're part of a bovine. They're bull balls.
Correct. Testicles
from a correct anatomical.
Right. You're in the medical sales business. You can use the word.
Yes. Testicles. So, part of the TikToking segment that we have, I found this just for you, and because I know you would appreciate this. Now it's edited a little bit, but you're going to get the gist of it. This is the TikToking in the Man Cave segment just for Wills, and it involves I brought a young man out to a ranch and freshly cut mountain oysters.
Very good.
Yellowstone shit. They don't do this on Yellowstone.
You got it? Is there dirt in there?
I'm about to eat a ball. Doesn't matter if it's dirt.
Because you need to wipe it off. Here, have a little beer.
Just pinch it and cut it.
What the fuck?
DK, are you filming this?
I got it. I'm going to send it.
All right, this is a fucking ball.
Yeah, I bet he just...
I need some more black friends.
Just a little...
Mama, I apologize. You know what? I'm doing it. Fuck it.
It doesn't look
Do
like
I
a
care?
ball, does it?
You know,
To yours? Oh.
Is it a texture thing?
What does it taste like, Robert?
Chicken.
Probably still had a little spunk on it.
Oh, he's going to throw up.
It's horrible.
Awful.
Let's be very clear about the Rocky Mountain oysters I've had. They're prepared in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny is if you work on a ranch, I worked on a ranch after my freshman year at college. And I mean, you're clipping left and right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it goes. But good gracious. I do appreciate the name Rocky Mountain Oysters. I mean, whoever came up with that is genius because
It's brilliant.
it's brilliant.
And it's, there's up in Stillwater, Oklahoma, they have a calf fry.
Calf fry, yeah, that's the other name. Calf
Other
fry.
name, calf fry. I prefer Rocky Mountain oysters.
Well, that gives you kind of a bigger. Calf fry is a little popper, a little smaller. Probably more accurate for the.
I've never tried them, Wills. Have yet, and I've grown up in the great state of Texas, and I've been on several ranches and hunting trips. Not sampled yet.
No, they're not that great. They're kind of like we were coming back from Lubbock. Texas had just lost, and we stop at some roadside, whatever, and somebody goes in there, and there was, it was maybe an Allsup's, but I don't even think it was as good as an Allsup's. By the burritos are fantastic.
Burritos. Pat Green endorsed it.
It was sitting there, and like there was chicken tenders and different, and then there was a sack chicken necks for 99 cents. Okay. One of my buddies got it, being like, oh, this is going to be great, blah, 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 fried chicken necks. It tasted exactly how you would think a chicken neck would taste. It was horrible, awful. So there you go.
Well, would it taste like marrow, blood marrow, bone
No,
marrow?
it tasted like a rubber band that was doubled over and fried. That's exactly what it tasted like. It's horrible.
Good Lord. I'm not afraid to try things. Chicken neck. Now, Southern style greens with a ham hock, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good That's good eating right there.
Yeah. 100%.
Rocky Mountain oysters. It will not be ordered anytime soon, but I will try them.
There you go.
Preferably prepared in a kitchen.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah. Final thoughts from my brother over here from the pride of Northwest Hills. Final thoughts as you enter this lovely weekend.
There's an excitement. I feel it every year about it's almost a perfect time. We get the basketball team winning in March, baseball team going, spring football, all the buzz there. It's the only thing that can take us through the summer waiting before college football season. We need to finish strong. That's my message to the viewers. Let's finish strong here, get some titles, get ready for football season.
Get some rings.
Get some rings. Agreed.
Get them. Line them up for every finger, every digit on your hand.
Agreed.
So, would you agree or disagree that second week of March all the way to the second week of April is perhaps the best time in Austin, Texas, because of the weather and just the feel and all the events that are scheduled in this great city?
It's awesome. It really is. Just because the weather really makes you go, holy shit.
Yeah.
Dupes you. And then then June, you're like, hey, we're okay. And then you start to go. The worst time, which is crazy, is September is almost worse than anything.
Oh,
because you can't get out of it. You can't get out of it.
Because you think, oh, it's football season, and you feel a little bit of relief. Then you're out in it, and you're not relieved of anything.
Right. Then the Big 12 schedules you at 1:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah, that won't happen in the SEC.
No, it won't.
Yeah, there'll be more night games. They're smarter.
Yep.
Big 12 doesn't get it.
No,
brother.
Enjoyed it.
We're going to have to add Rocky Mountain Oysters to the menu at the Boulevard.
Agreed.
AKA the Bully.
They'll get right on that.
I want to make a request after we request the Manscape 4.0 products that belong to Coach Mo to go to the Wills Smith.
It's an easy transfer. I can get them on my way home, Coach Mo.
Coach Mo, he's got you. We got you.
Coach Mo, I'll even take a used version of your Manscaped products. Okay?
They're just pubes.
They're just pubes. They're Aggie pubes at that, which is it's a little whatever.
/Bearcat.
/Bearcat, yeah.
That's right. For Wills, I'm Sean Clinch. Have an amazing weekend. We are out.